Lately I've been feeling things change. We've been working hard, no sleep, get it every day. And I swear that we ain't stopping till we pay. Yeah, the pressure on, gotta make it work. Triple play, yeah.
This is Triple Play Fantasy Basketball Week 14. We're here to help you in your league about halfway through the season. On one end is me, host, Coach James Lewis. On the other end is Doc Mendelson. What up, Doc? You enjoying some NFL football?
You know, James, you almost had to find a new co-host. I can proudly wear this 49ers shirt today, but I might have been MIA and not doing fantasy basketball the rest of this season had they lost. I feel like we're more than halfway through the season, right? Where it's week 14, it's end of January, at least for the fantasy season, right?
Yeah, and right now the waiver wire is getting real thin these days. We're hoping that some trades kind of mix some things around. We saw a trade happen last week that helped benefit. We're just going to throw him out there right now before we get into the games watch. But Marvin Bagley, we talked about how his per 36 was 20 and 10, and he's delivered, and he's had 2 games where he did that, where he led the Wizards in scoring yesterday and minutes with 36. That's what you're looking for. We will see what happens when they are full strength. Right now, he's benefiting of an injury in the front court, but I could see him splitting those minutes, and if he's playing close to 30, he's worth it because he gets high rebound. What's been impressive is hit his 5 stocks in that first game against New York. But if you were ahead of the game and picked him up when the trade happened, based on opportunity, he's been doing well in Washington.
He played 39 minutes the first game, and Coach, you and I talked about this last week a little bit. The Wizards have a bunch of guys on expiring deals. Tyus Jones, DeLon Wright. They've been rumored to ship Kyle Kuzma. I don't think anyone would take Jordan Poole, but I think Marvin Bagley is going to get more opportunities. He's making $12.5 million this year, $12.5 million next year. I think for the Wizards, look, they're 7-34 right now. They're going to play the guys that I think either they want to showcase or that, like I said, they ship some of those guys out, and that creates more minutes for him. But
I mean, and his only competition right now playing a position is Daniel Gafford. He's out with a concussion, so we may see his production drop off a little bit when he comes back because they're basically unplayable together. So I just see they'll probably just split the minutes, and depending on how the game is going, one of the two is going to benefit more. But Gafford's always been a guy that never plays the whole game anyways.
This is what Marvin Bagley does: is he showcases immediately with his new team and then burns out.
Yeah, I mean, you can't take away he is an offensively talented guy, but yeah, the history does say that he can go for some spurts and then it quiets down. Our games watched this week, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday are things that we look at as far as there's not as many games, so those are days you look at for trying to get stream guys. The Pacers play all of those days. 18 teams play 3, 12 teams play 4, so it's a fair sort of week, so to speak. Pacers players you look at it, Aaron Nesmith, TJ McConnell, and maybe Andrew Nebhart, but they definitely are going to play those days that, on the other ones, when you think about Saturday, you're going to have a full lineup. So
Pacers got a Friday game as well.
Oh, nice. So, yeah, they're one of the teams.
Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday.
So it's a good schedule week for them. So maybe Aaron Nesmith, you pick him up, you stream him, and then you get rid of him. Jordan Hawkins in past 2 weeks is giving you 15 points a game. He's had some games where he's hit big threes, and that's what he's done since he's gotten into the NBA. This is just his rookie season, coming off that championship run with UConn. He's one of the best movement shooters in our league already. Year one, he had 6 threes against Charlotte, 6 against Dallas. He's a 3-point streamer in particular. He's not going to get you many other categories, but those are, that's a swing category. I picked up Herter and Duncan Robinson this week, so I went for threes, and it was a benefit thing. But I don't feel bad about dropping those guys.
If anyone for the Pelicans is out, Brandon Ingram, Zion, CJ McCollum, that Jordan Hawkins is going to step in and be that main scorer off the bench. And he's been getting more minutes. I mean, against Mavericks, 37, 24 against the Hornets. He's a scorer. Can drop 20 any given night. The Hawk. Caw-caw!
And although he's like a weaker frame kind of liability on defense, I mean, he plays tough. He just literally has to get physically stronger. Offensively, he still stretches the court so much that it kind of balances itself out. Your boy Larry Nance, though, he needs to chill out because he's taken away from Jonas Valanciunas' production. I don't like it. He suffered in the playoffs, in particular in my fantasy league. Jonas Valanciunas, where he just really wasn't playing too many minutes because of Larry Nance stealing it. So who knows?
It sounds like you're being selfish.
Larry concussion might happen again. Actually, I don't wish that on anyone. I shouldn't say that.
Yeah,
but how
you're getting canceled?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm pro player safety. Right now, Zach LaVine is out with an ankle injury. He's just nonstop with the injuries, which is kind of a bad time when you think about the Bulls as far as trade. Are they going to finally, dude? Are they going to do it? Can they?
I hope so.
Blow it up.
I have so much money on their unders. I really hope they do.
It is wild.
DeRozan, this is the final year of his contract. He's an unrestricted free agent. I believe the same with Vucevic. LaVine,
yeah, 1 year deal.
They're not getting out of that LaVine contract, especially with an ankle sprain. They're not getting out of that Lonzo Ball contract. It would make sense for them to blow it up rather than to be the 9th seed right now, but we'll see.
Io's benefiting with this injury. He's getting minutes, and he's had stints where he can be a category darling. 13, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, a 3. I mean, he's a good defender. He's not providing too many defensive stats in this last week, but he's capable of it. So he's worth a look. 4
games with at least double-digit points, 20 and 21 in 2 of those. I mean, he is giving you a little bit of rebounds and assists, 3.3 and 4 over the last week. I'm not going to depend on it. It's interesting when you look at fantasy basketball sometimes. Dosunmu is a real-life good defensive guy, but not good for fantasy. And that's been like Herb Jones this year. Herb Jones hasn't put up the defensive stats that we've looked for, but if you watch the games, the eye test, he's been a great defender.
So you can find this man anywhere. He's only 5% rostered. Ausar Thompson, he's being productive as of late. We saw his minutes tick off big time when Bogdanovich came back. But now maybe with Bagley out, he's just got more opportunity to play a little bit more. He's been a terrific rebounder all season. Last week, 14 points, 9 boards, an assist, a swipe, and almost a block against Milwaukee at 22 and 9. Against Washington, which everybody goes off against Washington, 14, 8, 2 assists, 3 steals. He's definitely somebody that I would really be looking at, and I might be picking him up this week.
I'm looking at the minutes played. So he had 32, 22, 27. The most he's had kind of in that span. He played a little bit like that from in the beginning of December, but really it was the in-season tournament that he's received those type of minutes. I mean, James, great on the defensive end. He looked like somebody that was at least 1 block a night. Maybe Detroit finally realizes that this isn't their year and they're going to play their young guys and let them develop.
Yeah, Ivy's gotten a tick up too. They're finally playing Ivey, and we've been banging that drum all year. Please let that man play. He's so uber talented.
I like the aggressiveness though. 15 shot attempts in his most recent game when he scored 22 points.
Yeah, and 65.5%. Like, even though he can't shoot the 3 ball, he still is an efficient field goal percentage shooter.
I mean, he went 2 for 2 last game, and that upped his percentage to 15.5 for the season. So you're right. He can't. Him and TJ McConnell in a 3-point shootout this year. They're both shooting 15.5%. But from the rebounding, he's 6'6", and he's averaging 8.7 boards over the last week. I love to see that.
And those people that held on to Jaden Ivey, man, you're benefiting right now that he's playing 30 minutes a game, which we were begging for. 18, 6 and 6. 32, 4-6, 24, 7-6, 18, 7-8. Like these are all his
They
nines.
really got to get rid of Killian Hayes.
Oh yeah, very Killian. All right, I'm in Thompson, the twin bro, the guy that was drafted one slot higher.
The baby bro.
In last week, 8 points, 4 boards, 1 assist. Not telling you pick him up, but he does have the defensive capability. If they can finally have some faith in him and play him a little bit more, but with Houston being competitive, he hasn't found that. But I like both of these brothers' long-term trajectory. I just say, since we were talking about Ausar, we might as well just give Amen a mensch that he's playing good basketball when he does play. And I mean, minutes 18, 10, 19, like it's not worth it unless he's getting like higher 20s, but still, I like him as a player.
A deep league ad, and if another person gets hurt for the Rockets, let's say Dylan Brooks gets hurt and Tari Eason isn't coming back, he's missed, I think, 12 straight games with a lower leg injury, then I think you get ahead of the curve and add Amen Thompson. But before that, like, yeah, he's just not playing enough.
Yeah, I'm hoping Tari comes back. He's been suffering on my IL for a while here. Kris Dunn is in the starting lineup, and the Jazz have been playing well. I think they're 10-4 with him in the starting lineup. I don't know if I have that 100%, but in the last month, 5 points, 3 boards, 6 dimes. We know how hard assists are to come by in leagues, but with him not being so productive points-wise, it is, it is a dependent on your roster type of move. If you're trying to swing, and he's a big swipe guy. He always has, and he's a really good defensive player.
I'll be interested to see if Utah makes any moves at the deadline, because remember when they started off well last year, better than
I think they will.
If they get rid of John Collins, if they get rid of Colin Sexton, I mean, we don't have this in the graphic here, but January 8th against the Bucks, he had 13 assists in 24 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, he has high assist upside. Not going to give you a lot of points. 10 points is the season high for him, but he sprinkles in a little bit in each category. We talk about those guys, James, and I'm going to take the graphic off. He's giving you a lot of assists there. He's giving you a little points. 8 rebounds last game. You'll take that. You'll accept that. You'll embrace it. A steal, a block here and there.
It's 10, 8, and 7. That's a nice line. And I think he just knows his role within this team right now. And that Colin Sexton comes in, and he's the bucket getter. I know, like you were talking about trades. I don't know what you can get for John Collins right now. He's just his value
a second and somebody to eat that contract.
Yeah, his value's at an all-time low. And
I know. And I'm a former John Collins stan. And it hurts to see.
It is interesting. The marketing factor is, you could get a big haul for him, or does he? He's young enough he could fit in with the timeline of your rebuild. You have so much draft capital, but you also you want to have a couple of good players to roll with going forward. So
they got to get rid of Jordan Clarkson
or
Colin Sexton. I think you keep one, get rid of the other.
Who you keep?
Let me pull up their contracts real quick.
I don't even have to think about it too much. I would keep Colin. He plays harder than anyone else. And then I think you may even possibly get more for Jordan Clarkson. He can fit in with more teams. So I would dangle Jordan Clarkson out there as a really, really good player who could really help a contender.
All right. I would keep Sexton because Clarkson.
Man, I've never seen you think more about a question in my life. You're usually boom. You don't think things through.
Well, no, here's the thing. I don't think Jordan Clarkson has as much trade value. But I think if he's on an expiring contract and he just got a triple-double this year, I think that was the first of his career. Like, if you don't see him in your future, get rid of that. But Colin Sexton making $18 million this year and next year, I mean, to me, they're similar players. They're bucket getters. They're guys that you're not going to depend on passing the ball. I don't see either as a building block of their future. So it's like, who can you get more value for?
Yeah.
But you and I agree, James. You and I agree.
Keep Sexton, get rid of Clarkson. And I'd be curious to see where he goes because he is a bona fide, sixth man of the year type of candidate with his ability to fill it up very quickly. Mason Plumlee is back for the Clippers. He's been like, if you pick him up, it's a categories league thing. He's been kind of mid in fantasy, but like sort of relevant because of how much he fills up during in the categories. What's your take on Mason Plumlee? We haven't talked about him this year because he's been, injuries most of the year. You have Daniel Tice, you have Zubac. It's kind of
no. The reason we're talking about him is Zubac is out at least 2 to 4 weeks.
2 to 4. Okay.
At least 2 to 4. So, I mean, his first game starting 28 minutes. That's a season high. 14 points, 5 of 5 from the field, helping the field goal percentage, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 blocks. I think that, a lot of times in fantasy basketball, you're taking guys that are going to get an increased role because of injuries. And throughout his career, Mason Plumlee has shown that he shoots a good percentage from the field and that he rebounds well. And
I didn't know it was that bad at least 4 weeks. So, wow. And Zubac had been playing, lights out. I assume this is going to definitely affect the Clippers. Let's see how they, manage this going forward. But Plumlee gets a look. Daniel Tice, or at least radars. They're definitely on your radar right now because they're both highly available in leagues, but they're not.
I'll say, if anything, you're using Plumlee as a categories league rebounds and field goal percentage guy. I don't think he keeps up 11 points per game.
Okay, yeah, I see him more at like 8, but I also see his uptick in assists because he does have potential to pass the rock. I don't know. The ball's in James Harden's hands a lot, but James Harden, he's known to get the most out of his big man in that pick and roll set, and him and Zubac had that chemistry rolling. So it is something to think about. Like maybe, he can, mimic that same kind of magic with Mason.
We've seen this. I mean, he does this year in, year out. He has a couple good stretches.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of rebounds that are going to be available.
Jontay Porter, Michael Porter Jr.'s brother, is getting some opportunity over there in the land of Toronto. Last week, 6 points, 3.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and the stocks of 2.5. It's kind of, yeah. I think we're talking about some mid players.
I mean, look, Jontay Porter.
That's what the waiver wire looks like right now.
I am telling you, deep league ad, but Toronto is rebuilding. Would you agree?
I mean, I think they're building around Scotty Barnes.
But would you say they are somewhat rebuilding by trading Pascal Siakam and OG Anunoby?
I mean, I think they're in a retool.
Okay, we'll say retool, which means you're punting this year, which means guys that you want to see. So Jontay Porter is playing more minutes than Chris Boucher, who you thought would be maybe the main beneficiary with Pirtle out, right?
Yeah, and Precious gone in the trade.
Exactly. So 21 minutes, 20, 18, 15, 31. That's more than Boucher in those last 5 games. And I like what he's given you from the defensive end. 4 stocks last game, 3 stocks the game before that, 5 games with at least 1 block. I think he's going to give you value in deep leagues.
I always like brothers of basketball, the forgotten brothers. Like he's kind of forgotten. Like the Thompsons, they're both like relevant, but like there's always a brother out there that like just kind of gets lost, like Isaiah Mobley. He's like a good player. And
Robin Lopez or Taylor Griffin.
Oh my, Taylor Griffin. That's a deep cut right there.
Yeah.
All the berries. There was 3 of them.
Yeah.
Brent,
John, Rick, Brent.
Rick is the dad, but
yeah, John was the worst one.
No, he wasn't. There was a worse one than John. John was.
Oh, I meant out of him and Brent.
Yeah, Brent's the man.
You were talking about Brent Barry on this show.
Speaking of the man, the legend himself,
Greg Popovich. You're right. He is a legend.
I was leaning more to the guy he's speaking to, Jeremy Sochan. Jeremy, as well as Trey Jones, have now benefited in this. Like, we're not going to play Sochan at point guard anymore, and we'll just make Trey Jones our traditional one. And I think this is benefiting. Well, both of them are fantasy values, but them in the production of Wemby as well. Let's talk about Sochan real quick, and then I kind of hear your take on San Antonio. But 15.5 points, 6.8 rebounds, 4.8 assists. In the stocks, he's going crazy. 1.8 steals, 1.5 block. That's what you're looking for. Now I see the young Draymond comparison. That is 3.5 stocks in the last 4 games on average. You'll take that every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, look, I got to give credit when it's due. He's been playing well. 51% roster. You definitely anticipate that going up. Great on the defensive end. Been aggressive. Double-digit shot attempts 4 out of the last 5 games. He's getting the minutes as well. 30-plus minutes in 4 out of the last 5. Point guard, power forward, eligible. Wemby has been getting more rest. Sochan looks more aggressive on offense. I mean, James, even when he's not scoring against the Hornets, 11, 8, and 8.
Yeah. And Trey Jones is benefiting even more. Trey Jones, this is his lines: 11, 8, and 12, 16, 2, and 4, 9, 4, and 11, 6, 1, and 12, and in the game before that, 39 and 4. So Trey Jones is balling right now.
Yeah. And I mean, Sochan has at least won 3 in 10 straight games, which we thought might be an Achilles heel for him. Coach, since you're so in love with him, when is his birthday?
I don't know, Valentine's Day?
No, that'd be funny. But May 20th. So mark your calendar. He turns 21 that day.
Oh, wow. May 20th.
A day after me. I'll be hungover, and then he'll be celebrating his birthday.
Yeah, my son's birthday is May 23rd. So, yeah, a lot of May birthdays going on. That means your parents planned it correctly. You have the baby. You enjoy the summer. That's how we do things.
My gosh.
Properly planned. I mean, there are whoops babies. Like, whoops.
James,
we're pregnant.
James gave you his thought process behind his first kid.
Yeah, plan it out, man. Dude, you can go outside and walk them in the stroller. Like, just saying, like, especially like as a teacher, it's kind of extra savvy too. You get out a little early. You know, you use your paternity time.
You
and
enjoy the
summer.
summer. You enjoy the summer, and then before the depression of going back to school in the fall hits, you decide to make a life-changing decision.
I'm trying to give you some daddy advice, man. I know you're not there yet, but it will come. One day it will come.
I ain't even married yet. I'm surprised I'm dating someone.
Yeah. Well, shout out David. He's showing the way. They're over there hanging out, being Uncle Doc. Shout out all the uncles out there. Yes, sir. All right, Doc. Any other wise words you want to share? Oh, I did want to tap in just because we got a little time of some of the matchups, premier matchups. I really enjoyed the Embiid Jokic last night with Anthony Edwards and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. That did not disappoint, except it did disappoint when Anthony Edwards was 0 for 3 from the free throw line when they were down 3 with 3 seconds to go. I like that. It's just like there's a lot of like bad games in between. What's your take on Embiid going? Jokic is the best player in the league.
Embiid has 20 straight games with 30 plus points. And only Wilt and Harden have done that before.
Yeah, 30 and 10.
You know what? I thought Philadelphia was going to regress. I thought Joel Embiid was going to regress. I have money on both of their unders, both his points per game and their record. But he's showing out. I don't think he necessarily gets, and I know he won MVP last year, but what he's doing right now is just special. As much as Philly has changed the supporting cast around him from Ben Simmons to James Harden to now Tyrese Maxey being the number 2 to rotating head coaches, Embiid has been the consistent one and has provided game in, game out, battling through injuries.
His decision-making, playmaking, undiming, just going crazy. He wins MVP last year, and then this year he's just even way better. 35, 11, 6 assists, a steal, and 2 blocks. Are you kidding me?
Like a decade ago, it was the era of the guards, prime Steph Curry, Harden. LeBron was always there, CP3. Now it seems to be the era of the big men. Jokic, Embiid, Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, I will have to say, you mentioned some guards there, but those guys, it was KD, it was LeBron, it was Kawhi. Like, it still is a wing. Like, you failed to mention LeBron's name when it was like it was Harden and
Harden. Yeah, I'm trying to mention LeBron as little as possible on this
clearly. All right, boss. If you enjoyed any of the content or a little bit of the content, hit a like, hit a subscribe, comment. We comment back. Good luck. Ideally, with a trade deadline looming, that we have some, a little bit more, food on the plate for you to divulge in going forward. But yeah, let's see if Marvin Bagley can keep this up. For a Doc, I'm Coach. Enjoy some football, people. Peace.
Lately I've been feeling things change. We've been working hard, no sleep, get it every day. And I swear that we ain't stopping till we pay. Yeah, the pressure on, gotta make it work, triple play, yeah.